morning, friends of the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. Good morning. That is much better. How many times have we been doing this? You think you'd get it right. It's good to hear from all of you. Good to see all of you today. My name is Roger Fallabout. I'm the Director of Community Relations at a place you might have heard of. It's about a mile down the road. Great big building on the corner of Business 13 and Carroll. Peninsula Regional Medical Center. You guys heard of that place? Yeah. Anybody in the room born at PRMC? Yeah, right. Jim, I don't think it was PRMC then, but we'll still count it. Still good. How about your kids? Anybody have kids born there? Yeah, me too. My daughter was born there, who is finally, he says, graduating from this fine institution in December of this year. That's one happy dad. That's right. How about grandkids? Grandkids born at PRMC? Yeah. You know, we've been there a while, 121 years taking care of this community, and a little longer than our local United Way, but this great agency has been doing the same thing, really taking care of the community for 74 years now. So that deserves a great round of applause. 74 years of our local United Way here on the Eastern Shore. It's a great honor for me to be welcomed back again as your Master of Ceremonies. This is the 14th time that we've got together to hold this CEO and Coordinator Breakfast Kickoff. If you're with us last year, you remember it was a tough go for me. I was battling a really wicked summer cold, so it's really happy to be up here standing in front of you without a bunch of stuff running out of my face this morning. So I'm really thrilled to be back. In spite of that, they invited me back again this year. So Pam and the team at the United Way, thank you. Great to be back. Wonderful as well to see a full house of all of you here. There are probably 220, 240 of you in the room. You are the community leaders that are really the engine that drives this United Way campaign. So we thank you again for being with us. Give yourselves a big round of applause for being here today. Before we get too far along, let me also take a moment to thank Jim Perdue. Jim, you are the honorary host of this event. You do it for us every year. It's not possible without you and Perdue Farms. We thank you for being here, and thanks for hosting us again today. And as well, to our friends at Salisbury University. What a great room. I mean, we've been in here for a number of years now, and this is just perfect. Wonderful place to host this event. Salisbury University gets it. Like Perdue Farms, they've been a strong supporter of the United Way for a number of years. And to our friends at SU, thank you as well for having us back again this year. Good to be here. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Roger. Well, it certainly is my great pleasure to welcome you here to Salisbury University this morning on behalf of our president, Dr. Chuck White, and really on behalf of our entire campus community. Dr. White is attending a University System of Maryland Board of Regents meeting across the bridge this morning, so he really regrets that he can't be here for this important United Way tradition, and he sends his greetings. In thinking about the United Way and Salisbury University, it's hard not to see the close alignment of our respective mission statements. The mission of the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore is to create and enhance opportunities to make a positive and lasting impact on education, financial stability, and health for all. And if you look at SU's mission statement, a part of that reads that believing that learning and service are vital components of civic life, Salisbury University actively contributes to the local Eastern Shore community and educational, economic, cultural, and social needs of the state and nation. And indeed, as noted by an important civil rights leader, the end of all knowledge should be service to others. So not only are our missions well aligned, but the United Way provides an important mechanism through which Salisbury University students and our broader campus community can contribute to the Lower Shore region. So whether it's through our student chapter of the United Way, which there are several students I think around today, seating people and doing lots of other things, or whether it's through AmeriCorps or environmental programs or SU's nonprofit leadership certification program, internship placements, and most recently through the massive, really massive volunteer placement at the National Folk Festival. I think SU had over 400 students and staff that were involved in that. We really appreciated the United Way's Get Connected platform to help us contribute to that, and also in so many other ways. So thank you for that. I think when we think about National Folk Festival and that most recent event, I think we'd all agree that we'd want to add the arts as a critical component to the vitality of our region. And speaking of the arts, just as Roger said, I was delighted to hear that Squawkapella will be here this morning. They have SU's a cappella group, so they'll be, I think, performing throughout the morning. And with that, I was told to keep it on time, so I'll turn it over to Captain Matt Trantham of the Salvation Army of the Lower Eastern Shore to lead us in this morning's opening prayer. Matt?
Thank you, Jim.
Before I pray, on behalf of all of the recipient agencies and on behalf of all of the residents and neighbors that we have that benefit from all of the programs and services, I want to say thank you for what you do to support the United Way and all of the recipient agencies that are represented in this room. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beginning of our kickoff for the United Way. We thank you for everything that has brought us to this point and the way in which you have provided for this campaign year after year, as you've touched the hearts and minds and souls of those in this community that have the ability to give. Father, we pray that you would do that once again this year as the United Way launches their campaign. Would you be with every respective agency and every individual donor, big and small, who contribute. Father, we thank you for your tremendous provision, which allows all of us to make a difference in our communities that we serve. Father, at this time, we join together in prayer, and we do want to lift up Chief Duncan and her family. Father, would you fill her with strength? Would you strengthen her faith in this time? Would you strengthen her family? Would you provide all of the guidance and wisdom that they need as they navigate through this challenging time in their lives? Father, we know that you have the power and ability to do that. Father, we pray that you would bless the food that we're going to receive this morning, and we pray that everything we say and do would bring honor and glory to you. Hear our prayer this morning, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Matt, thank you. Karen, thank you very much, too. And Matt, on behalf of everybody in the room, welcome to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Great to have you here. There are a lot of us in this room I know who are bell ringers, and we're looking forward to working with you in the Red Kettle campaign this year, among many, many other things. And with due respect to Tim Feist and my other Penn State friends in the room, go blue. Go blue. Matt and I have found out that we're both Michigan Wolverine fans this morning. Great, no booing from the audience. That's terrific. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Hey, breakfast is about to be on its way out, and I know that you guys are looking forward to that, and I know those are the words you wanted to hear. And in a moment, we're going to hear from SU's great Squawkapella, as Karen mentioned and as I mentioned earlier. But first, I want to show you a brief snippet of a very fun project that we've been working on in partnership with Vision Creative, and thanks to the generosity of our board members, Cole Tostin and Jim List. We'd like to help spread the word throughout the community on how all of us are living united, and you can help us with that. We're putting together a series of mini videos that in our own words can express why we are involved with the United Way and why we want to partner with the United Way to make our community better. So, got a little preview to show you of what we're doing. This is a snippet of what we've done so far, and it will feature some folks that I'm sure you will recognize. So let's roll it.
I live united because every dollar donated by people like myself and you goes directly to our lower four counties.
Last year, our group has been formed, and we decided we were going to provide hands-on volunteering. It's great to be able to encourage the involvement of strong partnership between the United Way and the Wicomico County Public Schools.
I support the United Way because they empower partners like the Salvation Army to share hope with our community in need.
The United Way was an opportunity for me to do something or participate in something that would make a difference in the lives of a lot of people.
One thing that United Way does, it provides the much needed funds for those community organizations that are out there struggling every day.
The United Way is important to our community because it has the ability to pivot as the needs in the community pivot.
There's so much about United Way that's almost infectious because of how much they do for how many people in our community.
We got involved with the United Way, with the Imagination Library, where we thought that reading for kids was the most important thing we could do.
The work of this organization is more uplifting and more invigorating than anything that I've done for a very long time, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
One of the very best things about working with our United Way is the staff and board and our community partners that I get to interact with every day. It's a real blessing, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, to work with individuals who continually put the community in front of themselves.
Pretty cool, right? So breakfast is coming out. Right now it is my great pleasure to welcome to the front of the room Salisbury University Squawkapella. So a round of applause for our friends from Squawkapella. Enjoy breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing? Awesome. My name is Kelsey Albert. I'm the president of Squawkapella. We're really happy to be here, and we're so glad that you guys invited us. So honestly, we're just going to get started. I hope you enjoy.
One, two, three.
Singing,
oh, happiness, yeah. Oh, happiness, yeah. I got a homesick heart, but a long ways left to go. I've been doing my part, but I ain't got much to show. So I'm asking you to show me some forgiveness. It's all for you in my pursuit of happiness. Chasing that life, moving on, cause I had to prove. There ain't no life worth doing what I did to you. So I'm asking you to show me some forgiveness. It's all for you in my pursuit of happiness.
Hey, how about a great round of applause for the Salisbury University catering and dining team? How wonderful is the breakfast every year we come to this event, right? And I didn't get a chance to do this, and they got out before I had the chance to do this, but Squawkapella. Holy cow, how great was that? Each and every year. Thank you, Squawkapella. That is always awesome. What a great performance. And don't rest those hands just yet, because I'm going to need another round of applause from you here in just a moment as I bring forward Jim Hartstein, who is of the insurance market. Jim is also our executive vice chair. He is also the immediate past chairman, board chairman of our United Way board here on the Lower Eastern Shore. So join me in welcoming Jim. Jim, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here with you all today and get to see all these good friends. And knowing that I am the immediate past chair, that also means the opportunity for you to hear me ramble on is becoming less and less. So good news all around. As Roger said, my name is Jim Hartstein. I am the immediate past chair. On behalf of the board, and we'll bring Dana up in a few minutes to talk about this year coming going forward, I want to give you sincere appreciation, sincere thanks for being here today. It means a tremendous amount to each and every one of us, the staff, the board. Your support and your appreciation, your faith and confidence is exactly why we do what we do. So I've been asked to speak a little bit today about some of the recent changes that we've had at United Way and how those changes are going to affect our agency going forward. Thanks to your unwavering support and confidence, we are coming off of an incredible year. In the last year, from a giving and fundraising perspective, we have achieved unprecedented levels of success. This success has allowed us to help fund our partner agencies in ways that, quite frankly, we didn't know were possible. From an advocacy front, we were able to successfully advocate for increased funding for the public school system, as well as bringing additional resources for the opioid epidemic that's having such a devastating impact on our community. We've also lived up to our volunteer commitment. We played a vital role in bringing thousands of volunteer hours to our community and only expect that number to grow as our agency grows. But also, over the last couple of months, as many of you know, and quite frankly, probably none of us saw coming, we did have a change in leadership at the president and CEO level of the organization. Over the last 24 years, under the leadership of Kathleen Momay, our United Way has had tremendous success. It is impossible to look at the landscape of this community and not agree that Kathleen has had an incredibly positive impact on thousands of our friends, neighbors, and family members right here on the Lower Eastern Shore. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our partner agencies, we would like to thank and honor Kathleen for her service, incredible leadership, and incredible accomplishments over the last 24 years. Transitions like this are not easy. While much has been said over the events that have transpired in the last couple of months, please know that this organization is committed and will remain committed to continue to act in a way that protects the integrity of the United Way and your individual donor dollar. On behalf of our United Way, and I do mean our United Way because the United Way belongs to each and every one of us, we believe that the strength and stability of our United Way is vital to the overall health of our community. As I look at our community and the role that our United Way plays in it, I am convinced that the need for a strong United Way is greater than it's ever been. For our partner agencies, your community need is higher than it's ever been, and you have far less time to properly serve that need and then raise the funds required to do that. As donors, you have new ways to give, you have more organizations that you can give to, and not nearly enough time to properly decipher those options. Please know that a gift to United Way has hundreds of volunteers behind the scenes, as well as an incredibly talented staff that takes your donor dollar and the stewardship responsibility that comes from it incredibly seriously. We will put that money to good use. And that's why we believe that for this very reason, an investment in the United Way is one of the most efficient ways that you can give to your community. That will not change. Campaign coordinators, as you think of creative ways to generate excitement, as you meet with your donors and you're faced with questions, please know, as you look those vital members of our community in the eye, that we are taking our role as leadership and to protect the health of the organization incredibly seriously. You have my word and the word of our board of directors that your gifts will continue to go to the right place in our community. As we have said, the United Way is vital to the overall health of our community, and we are honored to have the opportunity to serve you in this capacity. We, as a board of directors, view this as an incredible chance and an incredible opportunity to continue to build our organization as it grows, because quite frankly, I think our community needs this organization to be strong and continue to grow. And we are all incredibly fortunate that we have the opportunity to experience this growth under an incredibly talented leader and my friend Dana Seiler, who's going to be leading us through this next year. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your confidence. And God bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much. So as I said, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dana, incredible leader, incredibly community-minded friend of mine, and here you go.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that, and I don't think that the sentiments of the board and the staff and the people that are intimately involved with United Way could have been said any better. So thank you again, Jim. I appreciate that. My role here today is twofold. One is to officially welcome you to the kickoff of this year's campaign. And I want to thank each and every one of you who gave up your morning to be here. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important to us, and it's incredibly important to the community. I would like to take a moment as part of my responsibilities and recognize the dignitaries that we have here today. I know that I'm going to ask them to stand, and I'll ask us to please wait until everyone has stood before we clap, because I know some of us have favorites, and I just want to make sure that the applause is equal across the room, so if you would bear with me in that. and I would thank you. As I call your name, would you please rise and stay standing until we have introduced everyone. We are happy to have Donna Haig, representing Mayor Jake Day's office, here with us today. Delegate Mary Beth Carrozza. You know, I see Mary Beth all over the place. Do you guys see Mary Beth everywhere? We have Delegate Chris Adams, Senator Addie Eckert, Kelly Green, who's the District Director for Jim Mathias' office, Jack Heath, Salisbury City Council President, Ryan Snow from Governor Hogan's office, John Cannon, Wicomico County Council President, Bill Reddish from the office of Congressman Andy Harris, Delegate Johnny Maltz, Sheriff Mike Lewis of Wicomico County Sheriff's Department, and Sheriff-elect Matt Crisafulli from Worcester County Sheriff's Department. Would you join me in a round of applause for our delegates? Thank you, and you can be seated. Oh, and well, you know, I was just going to say that my apologies if I missed anyone. Delegate Otto, I apologize if you didn't see you back there, but thank you for being here. Thank you, Addie. You know, I'm really excited about the opportunity to be here today, and Jim is a much more polished speaker than I am. I'm more a heart on the sleeve kind of guy. And so while my role is historically, we've talked about what we've done and how far we've come and what we've done beyond last year. I had a conversation a few weeks ago, actually probably last week, with someone who I considered a potential donor, and I happened to be in their place of business, and I was talking to them, and I handed them an invitation to today. And she looked at it and she goes, "Oh, this is nice, Dana. You know, I'll look at my calendar." And she turned to walk away, and then she stopped and paused. And she turned quarter of the way back to me and said, "You know, I'm not really a fan of the United Way. It's just a big money-making organization." And as I walked out of that conversation, it got me to thinking that, is that the way we really present ourselves? Is that who we are? And when I look out across this room, that's not what I see. What I see is a community of people who are like-minded and love their neighbors. And they don't just love the person that lives next door to them whose lawnmower they borrow. They love the person down the street who's recovering from addiction. And they love the person whose family is going through a difficult time with maybe a long-term illness that's coming to end. And they're looking for the love and the care that comes from Coastal Hospice. Or maybe there's a family that doesn't have a home right now. You know, we're fortunate. We have a bed to put our head, yeah, there we go, a pillow to put our head on every night. And it's organizations like Diakonia and Christian Shelter and Samaritan Ministries and places like that that provide that pillow for them to put their head on every night with their family. And so what I'd really like to communicate to you today, and this is what we hope that you take away from the presentation and the program that we have, because it's different than what we've done for the last number of years. I hope that what you take away from this is nobody said it was going to be easy, but I can tell you it will be worth it. And as I turn the floor back over to Roger, I hope that what you come away with today is that everything we do as community members, as leaders, as dignitaries, as employees that participate in a campaign, that you can look anyone in the eye and say, "I did it because it's worth it." It's worth it because of the impact we bring across the 4 counties we serve. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Roger, and we have an incredible opportunity for you to find out why it's worth it today. Thank you.
Jim and Dana, thank you both. Jim, thank you for your leadership the past year. Dana, we're looking forward to you leading our board for the coming year, as it's going to be another great and exciting year for our local United Way. Delegate Otto, what they should have done was given you one of these orange polos. They told me they'd never lose me wearing this, so I'll make sure we get you one of those next year, too. As Dana mentioned, we're doing something a little different this year. And it's really kind of cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all works out. We've invited a panel of community leaders to join us and to be up front here to share their thoughts and visions around corporate engagement, civic responsibility, why it's important to donate to the United Way, how you get involved in donating to the United Way, how you motivate your teams to donate to the United Way. And with that said, let me bring the panel up, and we'll get this part of the program going. First is Jim Perdue, no stranger to anyone in this room, chairman of Perdue Farms and our honorary host of the event today. Jim, welcome. Put you right in this chair here. Second on the panel is Steve Leonard. Steve is the president and CEO of the Peninsula Regional Health System and Peninsula Regional Medical Center. Steve is a past United Way board member. He is also the past Community Impact Committee chair, and he's my boss. So Steve, good to have you here. Thank you, appreciate it. Claudia Nagel is next. Claudia is the executive director of Diakonia, a long-time partnering agency from Worcester County. She is also the coordinator of Diakonia's internal campaign. Hi, Claudia. Hello. And last but certainly not least is Dean Goodwin, the marketing director for RPS, who has done an amazing job with creative event fundraising and employee engagement. So if you're looking for cool things to do with your campaign, this is the guy you want to hear from. All right, so I have a set of questions that we've heard many of you in this room ask us over the last few years about engaging your teams in the United Way. I'll be leading this discussion, at least in this first year here as we're trying this. This will not be a Q&A from the audience. So I'll take care of all of that for you. But again, these are questions that we've heard all of you bring to our attention over the last few years. In Jim and in Steve, we have historically the #1 and #2 fundraising campaigns on the Lower Eastern Shore with Perdue Farms and Peninsula Regional Medical Center. Claudia certainly understands the need through Diakonia and to make sure how those needs are addressed. And as I said, if you're looking for really creative ways to kickstart your campaign and to get your teams involved, that's Dean from RPS. So we're all set. Panel's in place. We're going to give this about 15 or 20 minutes. Somewhere I'm getting time cues, and I'll try to make sure that we stay right around that 15 or 20 minute time frame. Jim and Steve will be sharing a mic. Dean and Claudia, you guys will be sharing a mic. So here we go. The first question is really to all four of you on the panel this morning. Corporate engagement, civic responsibility, a couple of terms that we hear a lot used in the boardroom. What do they mean to your company, and how do you incorporate them into the culture of what you do every day? Jim.
Roger, how did you get the orange shirt? That's really...
Isn't that cool? I just realized I'm the only guy in the room in an orange shirt.
I think 30 or 40 years ago, corporations and communities only had one expectation, and that was the paychecks to the workers, and then that got flowed into the community. But there is really a different attitude about stakeholders today, and I think companies have a lot of stakeholders, not just their associates, but and their customers, but the community. Communities want to know what you're doing about the environment, what you're doing to help the community. What about philanthropy and this sort of thing. And so there's a tremendous amount of energy in a company that can be unleashed in something like a United Way or any other fundraising effort. So I think that's an expectation today that wasn't there many years ago.
Steve.
I didn't get any shirt,
So
You're welcome to this orange shirt too if you like it, buddy. Right.
Jim would give the shirt off his back, so thank you though. I think we're really fortunate up at the health system in that this idea of civic corporate engagement and civic responsibility is somewhat inherent to our mission, and so it kind of puts us in a great position. I think the United Way process and campaign and the engagement process really allows us to extend that throughout not just 100 East Carroll Street in our locations, but really throughout the region, which is a great place that we haven't always been as a hospital. We always tell people, I always say we've been around 120 years and we've kind of done well in treating people when they're sick or injured, but now how do we keep them healthy and well? So. Engaging the community through things like the United Way is it's a great add-on to us and allows us to take that mission beyond the walls of the hospital throughout the region.
Good, thanks, Steve. Claudia?
Well, the name of our organization, Diakonia, means in service to others. That's a Greek word. So the idea of civic engagement and community investment is central to the work that we do every day. So it's a natural connection to be partnered with the United Way and the folks across the community, because not only do we as a staff work on that concept of creating community, but we also, throughout the programs that we offer to the community, try to work that in so that the folks that we're working with gather an idea of what that means. So it's a partnership, and it's helping others to connect to the community, relearn in some cases how that works, and also because we do some education with our board and with our staff to help them understand the role that the United Way plays in the community. So not only are we recipients, but we're participants. So that partnership and that sense of community involvement and civic responsibility is woven throughout the fabric of our culture and our organization. And we would not be able to do what we do were it not for the United Way in each and every one of you. So we're very grateful, and we really understand that complementary relationship between organizations and the community. So thank you.
We had these questions about a couple of days ago, correct? We had time to think about them, and I looked at the question and I thought, I really want to come up with some great quote, something that's very quotable, something that could be read really well in a press release. And then I realized that who the audience is. You're all CEOs, you're all managers. So the thing that I have to say is that I think those words mean nothing. A very controversial thing to say. I think the words themselves mean nothing. Brad Sutliff and I are both participants, are both members of the same organization. We are the 4th largest insurance brokerage in the world. Those words to a corporate, a publicly traded company, look great on a mission statement. They look great in an investment portfolio. They look great in a press release. But to the day-to-day employees, those folks that you are managing and signing those paychecks for, they mean nothing. Here's the secret. The secret is that the whole idea of philanthropy and volunteering in your community has to start from the very top. And that's what all of you have shown to your employees. It has to start from the owner, the CEO, the CFO, the managers. Those C-level managers have to be on board with every type of volunteer work. And in the employee meeting room, the same energy and excitement that you give to hitting sales goals, that same energy that you have for retention numbers and a 28% EBITDA, that same passion has to go to the people who volunteered and hit volunteer numbers too. In Brad and my organization, we are really proud to know that the leaders talk the talk and they walk the walk, and that's what we have to do too.
Good. Thank you to all 4 of you. All right, so Claudia, you get a break here. This is for the guys. How do these choices impact your workforce, fellas, and what are the benefits?
So if I were to, it's a whole nother way to engage your workforce in many ways. I think people in the workforce are looking for ways to contribute not just in the work that they do, but really in opportunities to engage the community. So this really is another way to engage them. It was actually, ironically, the first way I became engaged in some ways as a leader at PRMC many years ago when Tim Feist and Alan Newberry asked me to be a campaign coordinator. And it really allowed me to learn more about the organization, to engage the community, to have really an accelerated learning curve. So I think it's a great way to train new leaders. It seemed to work here. But more importantly, I think it's a way to allow them to have that outlet to reach out into the community beyond their jobs in a structured way and have that feeling of giving back.
Jim?
Yeah, so Amy and Jennifer, you see, you can take Randy's job. And if you keep going here. If you exceed the goal this year. No, I think Steve said it well, and it's energizing, to a company. For teamwork, you need a focus. Whether you go build a house together, it's a good team building activity. Well, United Way goals are a focus. You can focus the energy of the associates in the company on, and they can achieve that.
I think the question was, how does this relate to your community and your workforce? Was that kind of it?
Yep.
How does that?
Yep.
Our organization, Brad and I are responsible for 32 employees. That's the total amount that we have in our office. So it was finding a way to raise a bunch of money for a great cause. And so we put on 2 events, one in the fall, one in the spring. Brad chairs the one, I chair the other one, and we co-chair them together. And we decided to come up with these 2 events, and we thought about it, and we thought, oh, here's some great places that we can give the money to, because we wanted to be philanthropic. And so we quickly realized that we can't just decide where the 2 of us are going to give the money. We had meetings, we had polls, we did online surveys where we said, where do our employees feel that this money should go? So with an office full of grandmothers and doting parents and people who really cared about the community, the whole online thing was children. And so we got very involved in the Imagination Library, and to get all of our employees behind it made all the difference in the world. And I will tell you that when we have our events, when Preakness happens, in the loudest round of applause for our events, for Preakness, it's not for the business that picked the winning horse. And for Frisbee Golf, it's not for the team that won the event. The loudest applause from both the employees and all the people that are there comes when we have the United Way folks come up and say, this is how much money you've raised, and this is where the money is going in the community. And that's made all the difference for us.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas. Claudia, your turn now. As we mentioned, Diakonia is a long-time partnering agency in Worcester County with our local United Way. What does it mean to you to have the United Way's stamp of approval as a partner agency?
Well, one of the things that I know is that United Way is a very known entity. So when, as a partner agency, when you say that you're a partner agency with United Way, that lends some credibility and it puts something behind it, to know that folks like you are behind the organization, because it gives you accountability. It also helps. There's something that I'd like to say about the Alice report that was done a few years ago. As a nonprofit that works with grants, et cetera, and in partnership with the United Way, the material and the information in the Alice report has been critical for us in planning and in writing grants and in taking a look at our community with a different lens. A lens that without the United Way would have cost individual organizations thousands of dollars to put that kind of information together and to participate in a national campaign like the Alice Report. It serves us every day. And that kind of partnership, they listened, they heard us. And I'm going off track, so I'll get back on. It's an honor to be part of the United Way. It's not just that we receive, but we're also able to participate. And again, that's part and parcel of what we do in our organization. It's not just receiving, but also giving and helping the folks who participate in our programs, our staff, our board, help to understand that. And it's an honor to be a partner, to be a partner agency with the United Way.
Claudia, thank you.
You're welcome.
As I mentioned earlier, Jim runs the #1 fundraising campaign for the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. And Jim, you've been at this a long time. You've been a supporter of the United Way for a number of years. So what do you tell the agencies who may be on the fence and thinking about becoming a partnering agency with our local United Way?
First of all, I haven't done a thing. You know, the people at this table are the amazing.
Right. Give the credit where credit is due.
Oh
right?
boy, you better believe it. But I would tell them to jump off, you know, and jump off the fence.
Sure.
And
we know what you mean.
you know, I think it was eye-opening for me many years ago. You know, when we started getting more involved in the community, and you know, it's clear that people in a business want to participate in things. So they want to volunteer, they want to do things. But is it okay, you know, from the CEO, whoever's running the business, is that all right? And you know, but when it's unleashed, it's amazing to see. You know, and whether it's the United Way or, you know, the kettle ringing, those sign-up sheets get signed up in literally, you know, 1 or 2 days. I mean, they're filled. And so that tells you that people really do want to participate if it's okay. And that's what the key thing that you have to do is not only say it's okay, but also lead from, you know, walk the talk and contribute yourself as well as a corporate gift. You can, if you have a specific agency that you really are work closly with, you can designate those funds to go to that agency, although I think over 75% of the funds go to the general fund that lets the decision in the hands of the folks at the United Way. So there's just a lot of positives, you know, to getting involved in an event like, or a fundraising event like the United Way. And of course, you know, it does so much good for the effort that you go through for the entire lower shore. And I think just the success here in the last, you know, many years is amazing to me. It just tells me that that we're living up to really what's special about this part of the state of Maryland, and that is there's tremendous sense of giving and volunteering in this area, and it just never ceases to amaze me how active people are down here.
From what is probably the largest organization fundraising for the United Way to one of the smallest, Claudia, how do you inspire your employees at Diakonia to become involved?
One of the things that we do is to help them understand what the United Way does. And what that does is once you translate it, because it's not just Diakonia, there's many organizations across the community that they may not realize have touched their lives. And what the work that United Way does, and once people's awareness is raised and they understand, and it's not just words, they understand and they're very open to giving. It's one of the most giving communities I've ever worked in or I've ever been part of. And it's astounding. One of the other things I will say is that many times some of the folks with the least give the most. And it's very inspiring because they feel, they know firsthand what those dollars do for them, for people in the community. And when people make that connection, try and stop them. It's amazing. They're willing to give, engage, help others. So that's what we do. We help to bring it from the large picture to the individual picture.
Good, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dean, RPS, we talked a little bit about the fact that you are really the creative guys when it comes to doing unique things to raise funds for the United Way and to get employees engaged in doing that. Over the last 7 years, I think $132,000 to the Imagination Library through the United Way. So how does this end up being not only a win-win for RPS, but also the community when you launch these unique ideas that really bring people who maybe wouldn't want to participate into the fold and get them involved.
Roger, how are you going to say no to Frisbee golf?
Yeah, right.
So I am always very excited to talk about these things, and the question is always, how did you guys come up with these ideas? So I just wanted to share quickly about the two events that we do every year. Brad and I do an event in May called Preakness Palooza, around the Preakness horse race. And in just 2 weeks from today, oh my gosh, Frisbee golf with over 50 teams and 20 sponsors. Brad's idea was Preakness Palooza. Started with fraternity in a fraternity room at the University of Maryland, where guys would get crazy and decorate T-shirts. And now today, and give the money to the Ronald McDonald House. And now today, it's all about what are the women going to be wearing, and fashion shows, and really kind of dressing up for Preakness. And it's become a much more elegant affair than what it was back at the University of Maryland, right, Brad? Frisbee golf became an idea to make money out of my backyard. On the 4th of July every year, I would put together an 18-hole golf course with trash cans in about 6 houses' backyards and throwing over pools and garages and homes in an 18-hole golf course with trash cans and Frisbees. And this was the highlight of the whole summer, and I thought, well, this was kind of fun. Wonder if some other people would want to do this with us. And then we went to Shoemaker Pond Park, found a Frisbee golf course, an actual course. And then we asked about 18 people, 18 businesses, if they wanted to be a part of it. And now, 7 years later, in 2 weeks, we will have raised over $150,000, and we will have contributed books to over 5,000 kids from newborn to age 5. So the community question becomes, how is this really helping your community? And we've got some folks from Dorchester County, which is where I'm from. And last year, Dorchester County Public Schools talked about what the Imagination Library has done. Obviously, the money that we raised was going to the United Way. That was a given. But when we decided on the Imagination Library, we wanted to have a real impact. So in the last 2 years, with the books that have been donated, with those students in Dorchester County, reading levels have proven for those students involved in this to have been raised about 10% year over year, both in reading level and in having their recognition and retention. So we are really excited about that. And from an employee's point of view, hearing those numbers, seeing this excitement, that's what gets our juices going.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate that. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Some really cool and creative ideas for sure. Since 1897, when we opened the doors, and Steve knows this, how we deliver care and how we, not that he's been there since 1897, but as stewards of what Dr. Todd has provided for us, since 1897, our mission at the hospital has never, ever, ever changed. It's always to improve the health of the communities we serve. How we've done that the last 121 years obviously has changed, and it's different, and we're approaching it differently today than we did just last year. But Steve, how does partnering with the United Way help us to not only achieve, but really to push forward that mission of helping our communities and improving the health of our communities?
I'm a bit pensive right now, thinking how my golf game might be better on his course, quite honestly. But thank you for that, Roger. I don't think it's unique to Peninsula. I see Kathleen Harrison, my counterpart from McCready, Michael Franklin, my counterpart from AGH here. Our world is much better. We understand our world a little bit better these days, and really what drives people's healthcare related needs. And it's less about genetics, believe it or not, and it's more and more about social determinants that are out there. What's going on in people's lives that really, unfortunately, may influence them in not making the best choices, either for themselves or their families. Financial security is a significant influencer of people's health and wellness. The ability to have good diets and access to nutrition is more and more important, obviously. So in many ways, we're all in the business now of not just keeping people out of the hospital, but keeping people healthy and well. And I can't think of a better way to, if you look down that list of partners that the United Way engages, it really does do a great job of addressing those social determinants. And what does that do for all of us? It creates a healthier and more well community. So it lines up well with our mission, and it's a great thing to see. A couple specific things we're really excited about more recently is our efforts around healthcare literacy. You know, much like the Imagination Library, we realize that our population really has, quite frankly, a long way to go in understanding all of those things and all of those choices that we make, good, bad, or indifferent, and the potential ramifications, and really being able to engage their providers in those discussions around their health and wellness. So we've partnered with Beacon from SU, the United Way, obviously, and the local libraries to really, how do we develop curriculums to improve healthcare literacy. I can't wait to get it into the schools, you know, on the bookmobiles coming around. So that's going to be really important for us, because really that's the foundation, is understanding. It's impossible to engage in those conversations without a common vocabulary. So we're excited about that one going forward. On the crisis side, there has been some challenges. So, you know, our pharmacy team has been engaged with the United Way around the opioid epidemic. So just a couple of examples, but I think, again, more importantly, I can't think of a better partnership out there that allows us as one organization to engage 40 or 50 different partners out there in really changing people's lives.
Good. Claudia and Steve, if you want to be a part of this too, what have you seen and what have you witnessed impact-wise of our local United Way on the 4 Lower Shore counties that we serve?
One of the things that we really have looked at, and you mentioned it earlier, Steve, is health literacy. There's a mechanism now for us to get that common language with our folks. And the participation is also one of the highlights of working with the United Way, getting folks involved, being able to provide things in partnership with others, we have gardens around the house at Diakonia. We have those because of partnerships with United Way, with the Salisbury School, and there's 100 different examples of those kinds of partnerships.
For me, you know, it's fascinating. My role in the United Way has changed over the years, from a campaign coordinator to being on the board. And then there's the coveted seat on the Community Investment Committee, because that really is, quite honestly, one of the best opportunities to kind of be out there and see what's going on. So this is the part of the United Way that's made up of some board members as well as some community leaders that essentially goes out and evaluates organizations to see how they're using donor dollars effectively and efficiently. And for me, you know, it's less about the statistics. What was always amazing to me is the personal stories that you hear at each one of these sites, because 90,000 people impacted. I mean, it's amazing the different stories that are out there. I think I can probably recall every one of my CIC visits, you know, whether it be the Boy Scouts, the Salvation Army, Coastal Hospice, you know, the Seton Center, the Nuns down at the Seton Center, you name it. They're just phenomenal agencies out there that are making everyday impacts. And when they bring their program participants forward who share their stories, that's the connection. That's the connection from literally filling out this form, going full circle right to that person who's impacted each and every day. And there's 90,000 stories out there like that. And each one of these agencies on the back of the pink form is always willing to tell their story and to kind of make that connection so that folks have comfort in where the donor dollars are going.
So not only are these guys good, they also kept us on time today too. So Jim, Steve, Claudia, Dean, thank you very much for being a part of our first panel discussion. So valuable. Did you guys like that? Yeah? All right, we'll look to probably bring that back again next year. That seemed to work out really, really well. I know some of you in the room probably have some questions that you wanted to ask our panelists of these 4. Please do me this favor. Send them to Stacy McMichael at the United Way. Stacy's information, I believe, is in the packets, I hope. I think it is. If it is in there, good, good, good. If you'll send your questions to Stacy, she will make sure they get forwarded to any of the 4 panelists that you would like to address them to. All right, so moving forward now with our program, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Curtis Paul. Curtis is the Executive Director of the Recovery Resource Center. Curtis comes into this new role, new for him anyhow, with a tremendous amount of personal experience. So it is really great. It's a terrific honor for us to have Curtis here to tell us his story. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Curtis Paul. Hi, Curtis.
Good morning. Over the course of the Vietnam War, which lasted roughly 19 and a half years, 58,220 Americans lost their lives. In 2016 alone, drug-related overdoses claimed over 61,000 people. That number rose to over 68,000 in 2017. Those numbers are staggering, and many of us have lost someone close. That's because addiction can affect anyone from any walk of life. It doesn't care what color you are or what neighborhood you live in. There's no discrimination when it comes to addiction, and no one is immune. When looking in from the outside, it's easy to gain a certain perspective of addiction. I completely understand how difficult it can be to hold on to hope when you see what addicts do to themselves and the people around them. I know firsthand what it's like to rob someone of that hope, because not too long ago, I was disappointing the people closest to me. That disappointment grew because I couldn't stop wandering further and further into the bottomless pit known as addiction. So now I am labeled an addict. It can be a difficult thing to say. I am an addict. Labels can lead to stigma, and stigma can be a big problem in this opioid epidemic. My purpose here today is to try and reduce some of that stigma. I am standing up here to show you that it's never too late for an addict. No matter how bad things get, there's still a person inside, and that person may end up surprising you. I was born at Chester County Hospital in Westchester, Pennsylvania. My mother was an author, and my father built custom-ordered homes. We lived in a beautiful house tucked into the woods of southeastern Pennsylvania. My parents were loving, attentive, and generous with their time. They taught me many things, including proper values and good manners, while highlighting the importance of respect and honesty. At a young age, my parents taught me the value of hard work. Along with household chores, my father would have me gather scrap lumber from around his construction sites. My first job outside of the family was at Mears Point Marina on Kent Island, Maryland, where I spent my summers as a dockhand. During the school year, I was employed by a general rental company, where I began my mechanical education doing small engine repair. My family and I moved to Ocean City in 1995, and I was drawn to the water. I bought a jet ski with the money I had saved up and quickly found a job working for a rental in town. Once I graduated from high school, I went to a trade school in Florida called the American Marine Institute to get certified as a mechanic. After I completed the program, I returned to Ocean City and immediately started a business doing mobile jet ski repair for the local rentals. The business filled a need, so it was very successful. In my free time, I raced jet skis for the local Region 8 circuit. After a few years of racing and doing well, I was approached by a large power sports company named Riva and asked to travel the country with their race team. It was an opportunity I couldn't resist, so I set things up for my absence and off I went. The team and I went as far north as Grand Rapids, Michigan, and as far west as Lake Havasu, Arizona. It was an incredible opportunity and a chance to visit some amazing places. Along the way, I was in a serious accident and had to have surgery done on my left knee. After the surgery, I was prescribed OxyContin for the pain. Being pain-free was the point, but what I didn't expect is the extra motivation the pills gave me. The natural ambition and drive I was born with was heightened, but I had no idea of the risks associated with these horrible pills. The prescription eventually ran out, but the memory of what those pills could do was never far from my mind. This memory would end up being a catalyst for my plummet into addiction. I returned to Maryland after the tour and was approached by an owner of a local water sports company. He asked me to run his business so he could open another location in Florida. Due to the huge influx of people, summers in Ocean City can be demanding. It's vital to accomplish as much as possible in the summer in order to support the business throughout the winter. This would mean very long work days and 0 days off. Eventually, I began to tire, and the pain in my knee was slowing me down. Still having no idea of the risks associated with opioids, I went to a doctor who took a close look at the destruction in my knee and wrote me a standing prescription. I was doing well for a while, but over time, my body started getting used to the pills. I had to take more of them to keep the pain at bay. Then I realized I would feel sick when I didn't take enough. So began the vicious cycle of addiction. Then the unexpected happened. The doctor who was supplying my prescription lost his license. Soon after that, the pills started to dry up, and that's when the devil came to town. He was in the form of a light brown powder, and his name was heroin. I only made a choice to try heroin once. After that, heroin chose me. It took me any place it wanted to. I had lost all control, and I felt like nobody could save me. My parents raised me to have strong morals and values. I never thought I would try and continue to use drugs until I did. I never thought I would burn through my savings and pawn all of my belongings until I did. I never thought I would alienate my friends and family until I did. And I never thought I would ignore my conscience, break the law, end up in prison until I did. I spent a total of 3.5 years of my life behind bars. When I was released, I knew I needed a change. To recover and stay out of prison, it was essential for me to completely restructure my life. The first thing that came to mind was education, so I immediately enrolled in Warwick Community College. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Unsure of what classes to take, I registered for their general education transfer curriculum. Toward the end of my first semester, I learned about the chemical dependency counseling program. Something about it made sense to me. I thought about my experience with treatment and how I paid especially close attention to the counselors who were in recovery from drug addiction. I listened more attentively because I felt like they knew what I was going through. I thought about how, if I became a counselor, I could use what I learned from my bad experiences and turn them into a positive by helping others learn from my mistakes. So I signed up. My first class was Chemical Dependency Counseling 101. While in that class, I just happened to sit next to a student who was a member of our local Wicomico County COAT team. We got to talking, and she told me what she does to help people struggling with addiction. She also mentioned how they were accepting applications, so I gave it a shot. I ended up getting the job, and little did I know it would become one of the best things to ever happen to me. Working with the COAT team has been more gratifying than I can put into words. We encounter someone at what is most likely the worst moment of their life and do everything we can to help them return from the depths of their own personal hell. We also try to give them hope by being an example of what is achievable after addiction, along with standing tall as a support network of people who believe anything is possible. After spending some time working with the COAT team, I was given an opportunity to mentor individuals just getting released from Wicomico County Detention Center. My aim was to show them that incarceration doesn't have to be a revolving door. I would offer up an example of the direction I took and help to guide them down their own path toward recovery. The next chapter of my incredible journey began about a month ago. By actively participating in various outreach events and by speaking to others about my battle with addiction, I was introduced to an amazing group of people who are dedicated to helping addicts in our community. I am very proud to say that I have joined that group by becoming the Executive Director at the Recovery Resource Center here in Salisbury, Maryland. With the help of our generous contributors, like Purdue and the United Way, we are able to offer a safe space for anyone looking to begin and continue on their own journey through recovery. So in closing, I ask you to never give up hope. C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Yes, I stand before you a felon and an ex-con. And yes, I am also an addict. But more importantly, I'm a living example that it's never too late. Most of my time is spent at the helm of the Recovery Resource Center, which is an amazing resource in our community. I also work at Hudson Health Services as a counselor trainee and a behavioral health aide. In the evenings, when a call comes in from PRMC, I respond to drug overdoses as a member of our local Wicomico County Code team. When I'm not working, I'm a Dean's List college student getting ready to graduate with a degree in chemical dependency counseling. To top off these incredible blessings, in December I will become a father when my beautiful daughter Anna Marie is born. I have achieved all this because I am coming up on 6 fantastic years in recovery. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Curtis has an incredible story. And there's a lot more incredible stories just like that in our community. And they happen because it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. I hope that you come away today with something that you can carry forward, that you can utilize to talk to other people around you about why it's so important. Because what we're really looking to do as a community of people that love their neighbors is to impact their lives in a positive way. And as Curtis said, recovery never ends. Someone who starts recovery is always in recovery. And that goes not only for addiction, but it also goes for our financial, our education, and our health stability. And that is really what we're all about. So I'd like to take this opportunity, and I am extremely proud to be able to introduce you to someone who is a relationship builder and someone who really believes everything that we've heard and talked about today. And when things weren't easy over the last few months, this individual rose to the top and led our team through some messy days, to be honest. And when things could have crashed and burned, and if they had, we may not even be sitting here today, stepped up and showed us what a leader is. So I take great pride and pleasure in introducing our interim president and CEO, Pam Gregory, to give our closing remarks.
All right, where's Casey? I'm not sure what we were thinking putting me at the end, following all of this. Really? No pressure. Thank you, Curtis. Your courage is amazing and inspiring. Thank you. And thank you to our panelists and to Roger for your amazing MC extraordinaris this morning. If that's even a word, it should be for you. It's good. And thank you very, very much to Dana and Jim and to our entire board of directors who have offered their unwavering support and have stepped up in so many countless ways, not just in the last few months, but honestly, in all 7 years that I've been here, I have seen this group of individuals. While the faces and names might change once in a while, our board has always been an amazing group of individuals who take their heart, wear it on their sleeve, and then roll their sleeves up to dig in. So, in the interest of time, I won't make all of you stand up individually, but I would really love if our board of directors who were able to join us today, if you could please stand and be recognized, and you might see them all in their fun Live United gear. Thank you. So there's another group of individuals and a special group of folks that I really want to say thank you to, and I am going to call these folks out individually and embarrass them really well, I hope. And that's our team or staff. And before I even do that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the room. As you've heard this morning, yep, it's been a summer, but that's okay. I want you to know, and I've told this to many of you already in individual conversations, but you know what? We're good. We're doing really well. Thanks to the support of our board, the support of you all in the community. I mean, look at this amazing event our team was able to put together with everybody's help. And thank you again to Salisbury University for the generosity, the support, and the amazing work. You guys wouldn't believe the number of departments that come together like a well-oiled machine to make this happen. It's awesome, thank you. But our staff is really a key component as to what makes this happen and what helps us be able to work alongside all of the folks that you've heard from this morning. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our team to you, and I've got a couple new names to share with you too. Stacy McMichael, our amazing, yes, you're gonna stand, Resource Development Manager. Where's Kathy Thomas? Kathy Thomas is our Planned Giving Officer. Thank you, Kathy. Mr. Steve Folkrod, our token male on staff. Thank you, Mr. Steve, for keeping us financially fit. And I cannot imagine, you can't imagine how excited I am to announce Miss Casey Decker back on staff full-time, Special Projects Manager. Like every time I say that, I just want to do a dance. Okay. Now, our office manager, many of you may know Meg Davis, and if you follow us on Facebook, I hope you got to see the beautiful photo of her and her now 1-month-old baby and her husband, Andrew. And so she is at home enjoying that maternity leave and will be back with us in November. And in the meantime, we're really blessed to have Brayna Racine in the back helping us out and keeping us straight. She's done a great job of pitching in. And I now also have the honor of introducing 2 new staff. So we have 2 new community outreach coordinators. The first one, Miss Caroline Phillips in the back, who joined us a couple weeks ago, hitting the ground running. And Miss Claire Otterbein. Where's Claire? There she is. Hey, Claire. What's really cool about Claire is she doesn't officially start till Monday, but she was kind enough to show up at 6:30 a.m. to help us out and be here today. Thank you, Claire. And then we also have some really key volunteers that come to our office every single week to help us out. And as any of you that work in the nonprofit world know, you can't do anything without amazing volunteers. And so we have Tracy Ritter with us this morning. Where's Tracy? Oh, hello. Tracy's actually past staff with us as our grants manager, and she's continued to help us out in a volunteer capacity, helping with the Health Literacy Initiative and some other community impact projects. Thank you, Tracy. Pat Layfield is with us this morning. Religiously comes in every week to help us with all things in the office. And two new volunteers, a dynamic duo we call them, join us for several hours every week, and they're in the back, Ryan and his mom, Carol Sherpa. They help us make everything run like a good machine, and you can thank them for all these amazing folders you have in front of you, too. So bear with me. Oh, and wait, one more. A special shout out actually to a few volunteers who came really early this morning to help us out too. Melody Nelson, Laura Rodriguez, Jenny Reed Matern, and Brielle McQuiston, who also serves with us as an intern, and the rest of the Student United Way team. Thank you so much for all your help this morning. All right, bear with me. A few more thank yous, because you know, it's important. Of course, Roger. Vision Creative helped us with the now up video that you saw this morning. And as a reminder, if you'd like to step up and just share a few very brief moments of why you live united and engage in our community, feel free to do that. They're going to be out in the lobby. We have PAC 14 in the back recording us so that we can share this online. Thank you, guys. And also to Olivia Monet. Yes, and Kathy Pusey with SU, helping us with photography this morning. Thank you, ladies. And we really, really, again, appreciate all the generosity from the entire SU staff. I can't say that enough. Thank you. All right, so you've heard about our theme this year. It's our 74th campaign. That's pretty amazing. It's a long time. Okay, those of you that have met me, which you all have, you know I like puns and rhymes, so on the shore since 44. Okay, cool. You'll probably hear more about that next year as we celebrate our 75th anniversary, which is really exciting. But our theme this year is Live United and Open Doors. So let's think about that for just a moment. How often do you open the door for someone? Did somebody open a door for you today when you came in? I certainly hope that they did. Or yesterday. And sure, it's especially helpful when our hands are full to have a door opened for us, but what about just because it's the right thing to do? What does that mean? I'm sure you were, as I was, taught that being part of being polite is holding a door open for the person behind you, but how many of us really put that into daily practice? Make it a routine, part of what we do every day. It seems like a simple thing, really, but it can be much more to the person who's walking through that door. We all have stress, bad days, a million things going on. If you're like me, you're thinking about the 5 next things that you didn't get done that you're still trying to do. And it's easy to be on autopilot as we go into our day and we run into a store or run in out of the office, or even when we have to make that rest stop really quickly, because we really have to make that rest stop. But we don't really ever know what's really going on with the person next to us or behind us or in front of us. But we do know what it's like when someone's kind to us. So taking that extra moment to hold or open a door, especially with a smile, even if they're several steps away, can change their outlook and yours too for that moment or the morning or even brighten their day. So for me, I think I've actually turned this over the years into a social experiment, because I like the feeling, of course, of seeing somebody smile and say thank you. I mean, that's nice when somebody's appreciative of something you've done nice for them. But what actually makes me happy inside is when I see that person pass it on. I see them hold the door for the next person, or they say, have a good day to that person or to me or another stranger. You know, when they choose to do that rather than just mumbling a quick and terse, thanks. It really is that simple to make a difference. And as Dana shared with us earlier, it absolutely is worth it. So for our campaign this year, we're focusing on opening doors for our neighbors. Many of you've heard from Curtis and you've heard from Diakonia, and it's just amazing the doors that can be opened in this community when we work together. So play along with me for a minute. If I call your table number, okay? If I call your table number, just hold your hand up. Leave it up, just hold your hand up. And keep your hand up for just a second. All right, tables. 1, hands up, come on. 3, 7, 12, 15 and 16, because there are little tables in the back. Get those hands up, come on, y'all. 19 and 21. Let's take just a second and look around. This is about a third of the folks in this room. And that equates to the 1 in 3 people that you help make a difference in the lives of every single year. Thank you all. And of course, it's so much more about the dollars than about the dollars that make this happen. Yes, of course, every dollar of every donation counts. It adds up to make a big difference. And going into 2019, that's to the tune of over $1.6 million in 81 programs. Super exciting. But what really drives the impact of these dollars are the partners and the people behind those programs. While we have a number of direct programs, and you've heard about, such as the Get Connected Volunteer Center, Imagination Library, just to name a couple, we're proud to now partner with over 35 agencies who also provide direct services focused on improving health, supporting education, and stabilizing financial stability for families. All of these partners have fantastic teams who every day find ways to open doors. And if they find a locked door, they find a window to open. So we're thankful to have many of our partners represented here today. And if a representative from any of our partner agencies could please stand, we'd like to really thank you. Come on, y'all. Yep. We're also very fortunate at United Way, and I've been personally blessed by this, to be involved in these initiatives, to collaborate with other community organizations. You've heard about the partnership we have with Beacon and with PRMC and the library, of course. We're working through community initiatives in early education, helping to address the opioid crisis. I hope that you saw some of the art in the hallway on your way in this morning. Feel free to check it out on your way back. It's a sampling of the over 70 pieces of art we got from students in all 4 counties in middle and high school. It's amazing the talent and the insight that these youth have into the opioid crisis. But we're really able to do all of this other work, if you will, with other community partners, such as the Community Foundation, the local governments, the sheriff's departments, the health departments, and it goes on. And those are just several of our community partners, and we can't do it without all of you. So, because working together, as we all know, to make a community impact bigger never happens with one of us individually. We have to work together to do that. So before I wrap it up, and I promise I'm about to, I want to direct your attention to the folders that you received today. It's packed full, we know. I'm not going to go through all of it with you now, and you don't have to, but I do ask that you don't go and circular file it when you get back to the office. But there's a lot of great information in there and tools for you, whether you already have a campaign, looking to potentially have a campaign, or want some new ideas or find new ways to get involved with your local United Way in our community. But there are a few quick things that I just wanted to point out that are included. There's information in there about our Get Connected Volunteer Center. We have over 130 local nonprofits who use that site to advertise their volunteer needs and their events and fundraising opportunities. Check it out. It's a great resource for you or your team. It's a great team building opportunity to get involved in a volunteer function. And you can also use that site to track your volunteer impact for free and see how those hours are adding up to real impact. So just released last week, you heard Claudia talk about the Alice Report. We released that in January of 2017 in partnership with United Ways from throughout the state of Maryland. And hot off the press, as of this past week, we have a refresh to that report now available online as well. So it's updated with new data, updated through 2016. There's a lot of expanded information at the county level and now some trend reporting as well. So check it out, the link is in there. If you'd like a presentation or more information, just give me a buzz. And I'd also like to appeal to any of the young professionals or young at heart, and I say that because that means they let me come to a meeting once in a while, here or at your workplace, and encourage you to get involved with our emerging leaders. This is a very dynamic group who work together on development, networking, and fun ways of giving back. Our Women United group, which you heard mentioned in the video earlier, launched just last year, is on fire with not one but 2 programs they are leading. One is Read to Succeed, a reading buddy program, and Girls on the Run, which is a mentoring athletic program, both now in several schools and expanded this year as well into Somerset County. We actually have some open reading buddy spots, and men are also welcome to join in on that. So it's a great opportunity. That information's in there too. There's information about 2 fun family events coming up, the Cornament and the Student United Way 5K. Check them out, great opportunities and ways to get involved. And finally, there's a really cool thing in there about the Pepsi machines. So Pepsi, about 4 years ago now, launched the opportunity to allow anyone who already has or wants to have a Pepsi machine be able to have one branded with United Way branding, and a portion of the proceeds come back to our United Way. Thanks to the machines that you all already have and the other hundreds of machines that are around the community, in the 4 years, over $75,000 has come in from having a drink. Thank you so much to our Pepsi partners and to all of you that support that. So if you'd like a machine too, check it out, the information's in there. So again, when you have a few minutes in the coming days and weeks, please take a minute to go ahead and just look through the folder. Don't try to do it all at once because we packed it pretty full, but maybe instead of a social media break, or you have a couple minutes, and you just need to unwind from a spreadsheet you're staring at, pull a few things out. If you see something of interest, feel free to reach out. The contact information for Stacy and I are in there. So I am really closing now. And I want to leave you with some lyrics, bear with me, from one of my favorite songs, which is something my youngest daughter actually shared with me earlier this summer. And I don't know if we had it, I was too busy talking, I'm not sure if it made it in the rounds of the playlist this morning or not on the speakers, but it's a song called Have It All by Jason Mraz. So if you don't know it, look it up, iTunes, Google Play, whatever, it's worth it. And don't worry, I'm not singing. You definitely do not want me to do that. But it is a catchy tune, and I'm just going to share the first verse with you, if I say this one really long word correctly. May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May you take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness, and may you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest, and may you get to rest, and may you catch your breath. And may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows, and may the road less paved be the road that you follow. And please just remember to open doors along that road. Thank you again very much for joining us, for your support. Roger's going to close us out with a couple last notes here. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Pam. One more time, a round of applause for Pam Gregory, please. You really want to talk about rock stars in the room. There's one who really took on a huge, huge challenge this summer and has really positioned us to be right where we need to be as we enter this campaign. So Pam, again, thank you for your leadership. It's going to be fun working with you through this campaign, and I look forward to that. I really, really do. Those of you who know me know that I'm not from here. I'm a come here. I know. I came here in 1987, so I've been here a while. I've been here 31 years. I've been a strong supporter of the United Way each and every one of those years. So let me take this opportunity to thank Pam and to thank Stacy and to thank Casey and the entire United Way team for having me here to do this for a couple of years now. This is because I'm so supportive of this organization. This is kind of like hosting the Oscars for me. So this is really cool. So I really enjoy doing this. And ladies and Steve, holding up the testosterone end of the business for the United Way, thank you all so much for allowing me to do this. I really, really enjoy being here. Really enjoy being here. Now, as they said, and as you know, there is no free breakfast, right? So we're going to need you to do something before you get out of here. There is a big group picture that is happening on the Guerreri steps. Is that correct? Okay, so there will be staff right outside and volunteers who will lead you out there. We do want to get a photo of everybody living united. Don't forget as well, Vision Creative is still out there. If you'd like to record that little 2 or 3 minute snippet that we'll use in the video, we'd love to have you do that. And oh my goodness, don't forget your campaign materials. It's impossible to run your campaign without your materials. So make sure you grab those on the way out. On behalf of everyone associated with our United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore, thank you for being here. Thank you again for launching another great campaign. And good luck. If there's anything you need, find us. All right? Have a great day and a great weekend.